You're listening to the Business Marketing Show, episode number 25. You can find us at businessmarketingshow.com or on iTunes.
Welcome to the Business Marketing Show. I am Brendan from the Search Engine Shop, here with my co-host, Ed from Online Impact. How are you this morning, Ed?
Brendan, I'm very, very good. Thank you, sir. Are you well?
I'm well.
So, Mr. Brendan, there's all sorts of different tools out there that people can use. We've talked about a lot of them. And I think some of our favourite tools are tools that can save you time. But even more importantly, I think tools that can improve your sales and marketing are ones we love the most.
That is true.
And particularly ones that are not very expensive to implement and actually can have a very, very big impact on your business. So we are going to talk today about live chat software or apps that connect to your website to enable you to interact with visitors to your site to improve your connection with those visitors and improve your relationship and sales. So you've been using them for quite a while. Yep. I've only been using one particular one called Zopim for the last probably year and a half, 2 years. But they've been around for a long time. And I mean, a lot of people, I think, have experienced live chat on a website, going back 15 or 20 years. It's not a new thing, but it's certainly a lot less expensive to implement than what it ever used to be. And there's way more options. So what are your thoughts on using live chat on a website?
Let's give it some context first. So, let's when you're doing website improvements or whatever, we have our model where there's the 5 focus areas, and 2 of the big ones are traffic, getting more people and better quality people to the website, and then conversion, so getting them to convert.
Yeah.
I think in one of it wasn't the last episode, but a few episodes ago, we talked about taking the first step of your sales, if you're a physical, real-world business, taking the first step of that sales process and bringing it online is a really easy way to make the website work harder and get more conversions, get more inquiries, phone calls, bookings, whatever it is. So live chat works in a few different ways in that it can help you replicate that in the flesh, real-world experience through the website. And also, when someone comes to your website, they're probably looking at least 2 or 3 other competitors. So it's a way of differentiating. All things being equal, if you have live chat and they don't, then it's more likely you're going to win that customer. And then there's probably a third element to that there's a whole bunch of stuff that's probably broken, well, not necessarily broken, but not ideal with the way your website's structured, or that's missing from your website. And live chat and interacting with the visitors in real time can be a really good way to uncover some of those quick and easy wins, or low-hanging fruit, or kind of gaps in the way the website's structured, or things that aren't necessarily set up that well. So definitely for some types of businesses, live chat can be a real winner long-term. For others, often, particularly for retail-facing businesses, we've talked before about businesses where it's a complex sale, or it's a long sale, or it's a high-dollar sale. They work differently to more retail-focused sales where it's short. People find the website, they make a decision within 30 seconds to pick up the phone and book. So for more of those more simple, more retail-style, short sales cycle, simple sales, live chat probably works better as a long-term tool. But regardless, one thing we do for our clients is run live chat for 30 days with a feature called Proactive Chat, which is the thing that I'm really a big fan of, where the chat tool or the chat widget on the website will actually prompt the chat with the visitor once they've met certain conditions. And usually at the most basic level, that is they've been to more than one page on the website and stuck around for more than 30 seconds. But what we found, particularly for those retail-y businesses and e-commerce businesses in particular, that you'll get 1 or 2 insights from the tool that you can change to the website and it'll improve the conversion rate forever. So I'm a big fan of using it, even if it's not a long-term thing, I guess. That makes sense?
Yeah, absolutely. And Look, we've started using it recently in the last few months with a travel agency that's a client of ours. And within 48 hours of actually implementing the chat system, and this particular one we're using for them is Zopim, Zopim, which we'll have in the show notes, they end up getting a $3,000 package booked. And the profit from that paid for like the next 3 years worth of their Zopim account. So, and that was just straight off the bat. So I mean, for the cost of implementing this type of stuff, which we're looking at, $25-30 per user, or sort of on a basic level, it doesn't take a lot to get a return, particularly as you say with those bigger sort of ticket items or longer engagement. People feel they want to talk to someone for those sorts of investments. So that's a good example. A travel agency is a perfect example of where it works well.
Yeah, and it works really well. So that type of scenario is good too, because they already have staff sitting behind computers all day long. So there's
exactly
no real extra investment of resources to add the live chat onto one or two of those computers, or have one or two of their staff deal with live chat. So really, in that scenario, it's a little bit of time, and then it's just the software cost. But yeah, like it really, I think the 30-day trial of live chat, you just have to test it. Like I know, we have a few different businesses, and I know on one of them that the live chat is terrible. It's just people who want to chat and waste time, because there's a lot of information on that website and people use it for general research. But then on a couple of the others where it's more retail focused, that they are people who are almost close to buying, who are asking buying questions, or just have a query before they hit the buy button. So it's a good tool. It's a low cost tool. It's worth checking out. And even if you don't have the resources to commit long term, 30 days is a good amount of time. It shouldn't be too hard to commit. And Zopim's also good because it has an iPhone app. So even if you're not at your computer all day, you can load up the iPhone app, and if someone starts a chat on the website, it will ping your telephone.
Yeah, exactly. So a lot of people who have not been exposed to what live chat really is, I mean, it's a very flexible tool now, probably even more flexible than it ever used to be in the past. With it provides a lot of analytical data as well about the visitors and how much time they spend on the site and where they're going, and so there's all sorts of added benefits other than just that interactivity with the customer as they're live. But a lot of people tend to think when I talk about live chat that they've got to have someone there all the time who's going to answer the questions, but you can actually have it set up so that people can just leave a message and someone will get back to them. So it's no different to really like an email inquiry if there's no one available. Mm-hmm. So you can customize these things, quite a lot with what you want them to do and the times you want them to appear and all sorts of stuff. And as you say, triggers, how much time have they spent on the site, how many pages have they been through to before the actual chat pops up. So
yeah, I mean, in some cases, you can just integrate it on the booking page or the checkout pages or something like that. And as soon as someone is in the checkout process for longer than 10 or 20 seconds, you can have the live chat trigger. So it doesn't even have to be across the whole website.
Yeah, that's exactly it. So it's very, very flexible with what it can do. Because we develop mainly WordPress sites, well, I know for sure Zopim has a simple integration with WordPress. They've got their own plugin that just takes 5 minutes to set up. I haven't used any of the other live chat. So have you had any experience with things like, livechat.com or Live Person?
Well, I've used Snap Engage in the past, which is a bit more of the Rolls Royce of live chat, but it's overkill for most people. Zopim's probably fine, if you're just getting into it and trialing it. And it's the kind of thing that once you've used it for a while, you kind of figure out what features you need. You might need canned responses or something, templated responses, or the ability to swap the chat between different people or different agents and things like that. So I guess Zopim's a good place to start, and I think it's free for the base package, but that doesn't include the proactive chat where it starts the chat.
The pricing I think is free for the light version. You get one agent, one concurrent chat, and 14-day chat history. Whereas then you go up to the sort of basic one, which is $11, and the advanced is $20. But that's all per user. So that's, look, that's a ridiculously low cost to have such a very flexible tool. It's not going to take a lot. If you get one sale, even if you're selling a low ticket item, it's $100 or something, there's a good chance that that'll pay for the cost of that investment for the first month just on one sale. So, but look, I think a lot of people have questions whether it's an annoyance. Like some people say, "Oh no, I wouldn't want that popping up because that's going to annoy people." What are your thoughts on that? The annoyance factor of these things popping up?
Yeah, I think people tend to overthink these things on websites. So it would be, I guess, we always come back to, we've talked about, you've got to relate to what happens on some of the most powerful online marketing is just simply taking what happens in the real world and bring it online. So the live chat is really the equivalent of someone walking into your store or your business and one of your staff members walking up to them asking them, what can we help you with? So I think people overthink it when they say things like that they don't want pop-ups and annoying their visitors. And for sure, a certain percentage of people aren't going to like it, but that's like anything. Like, that's just the way life is. So I would say test it. Like, run it for 30 days. It's not going to hurt. It's a little bit of time, and it's like anything marketing-wise. You don't know until you turn it on what's going to happen. It could change your whole world. It could do nothing. So it really is a case of don't debate it. The cost is nothing. It's a little bit of time and resources. So why not? Like, is there a reason why not to try it?
Yeah, exactly. And we found that even when we didn't have live chat active, like there wasn't someone there to answer a chat, our increase in contacts was a lot greater having that. And we found that people were using that even more than our contact form to send inquiries through. So I think the fact that it's sort of really, it's not in your face, but it does catch your attention because typically it's in the bottom right-hand corner of the website. So it's not something that's popping up in the middle of the screen that's really annoying. It's a low annoyance factor in that sense, but it still does get your attention.
Yeah. Also, it's kind of similar to how if you put a phone number in the header of a website, people don't necessarily call it, but it just gives them a little bit more trust. So they just feel more comfortable that they know there's a live chat thing, or they can pick up the phone and call someone if there's a problem. So I think it works in a similar way there.
Yeah, absolutely. And also I think it can reduce your spam as well, because if you've got people using these systems more often than your contact forms, that can reduce that as well. So there's all sorts of little side benefits that you may not think about having a live chat. So
yeah. I think also, because there are some businesses where it's just they don't have the resources to do the live chat. So in those cases, and we've talked about in workshops before, there are tools that will, from getting feedback on the website, that will achieve a similar thing. So they're called qualitative analytics tools, but there's two. Basically, they're almost like they will pop up similar to a proactive chat session, and they ask the visitor whether they've achieved the purpose of their visit or what they did and didn't like about the website. There's a handful of different questions like that you can ask. And they can also be quite useful to run those tools. If you don't have the resources to man a live chat, then it's worth testing one of those instead in its place. So the two that I've used really and gotten a lot out of are 4qsurvey.com and Kiss Insights. I think it's called Qualibrew now. But both of those can replace live chat if you don't have resources to man them, or just, if for whatever reason live chat's not going to work for you. So those can get you some of those conversion wins or uncover some of those things that are not necessarily optimized or optimal with the website or content that's missing.
Cool. Awesome. So what else? I mean, it's not a massive topic. It's not something we could dribble on for hours about. Potentially, I suppose it could be, but I think the purpose of this podcast is just to make people aware that this is an option and that these are out there, because I think a lot of people tend to think that this is complex programming, or they don't realise how simple it is to get started. You could be, by the time you sign up for an account with Zopim and set it up on your website, you could be all up and running within an hour. It's not a complicated thing to get up and going. So
yeah, I think definitely the real long-term win is not necessarily the customer service element. It's really digging into what questions are being asked on a regular basis, and if the same things are popping up over and over again, then clearly there needs to be more content on the website, or whatever that question is needs to be brought forward, or that needs to be a bit more on the website about that. Like, particularly in the e-commerce space, we see that a lot. Like, you might see a lot of questions about shipping all of a sudden, or payment methods or something, and that means it's pretty clear that the current content is hard to find, or it's not up there where visitors are seeing it. So I think that's the customer service stuff is a win, but uncovering those insights as to why people are buying, or fixing those problems that are kind of roadblocking a sale or a booking or a call, that's where the real long-term power is. If you get 3 or 4 of those, that could mean double the inquiries to the website.
Very true. Yeah, cool. So we'll have some links to these. There's a whole stack out there. Probably, some of the more popular ones, the ones I've mentioned, Zopim, Live Chat, Live Person, they all seem to be fairly competitive. I prefer Zopim. That's the one we choose to use and use for clients, and I think you're using that one as well quite a lot now.
Yep.
But we have no affiliation with Zopim, but they are good. So thank you, mate.
Thanks, buddy.
Finish on that one. And we'll speak to you next time.
Cool. Catch you then.
All right, mate.
See
Thanks,
ya.
Brendan. Cheers.
Bye.
Bye. You've been listening to The Business Marketing Show. You can find us at businessmarketingshow.com or on iTunes.